Hello, my name is Louis Almeida. I'm the teacher, student, and mentor on the ideas of Spinoza and Gurdjieff. Today's topic is about Justin Bieber and about him finding God. Now, who is this God? What is God? Well, it's really different from the Spinoza God if he's following the Christian God. But why did he go towards God? What was going on in his mental and emotional state? Well, it turns out that Justin Bieber was going through a lot of pain, a lot of depression. He couldn't make music for a while. What's the story? What went on? His early career, he was connected with Sean Diddy Combs. And Sean Diddy Combs got him started. And if you were connected with Sean Diddy Combs, you're going to have to do certain things. He's going to do you some favors, and you're going to have to do him some favors. And those favors are not very nice. He had these wild parties, and he had cameras in his mansion all over the place. And evidently, Justin Bieber had to do things that he regret, that he felt great regret, that he feels a lot of shame, and he became, there was a lot of sadness and depression. However, over the years, Justin Bieber made a lot of records and was very famous. But over time, I think his conscious, being aware of himself, he had more inner sensitivity, that his past kept coming up in his mind. His association with Sean Diddy Combs, and he wanted to distance himself from Sean. However, I'm not sure if Sean threatened him or whatever, but Justin Bieber was not in a good emotional mental state. He began to realize, and he began to talk about, and I think in his music, he talks about Sean Diddy Combs. And now he feels regret, he feels a lot of shame about his association and about what the things he did. So he goes towards God. And however, the question is, what is this God? And that's what I want to talk to you about. The real God of Spinoza.
Do you believe in God?
Einstein famously replied,
I believe in Spinoza's God.
"Let me explain. According to Spinoza, an entity can exist in one of two ways, independently, by itself, or dependently, as a part of something else. But for something to exist in itself, means everything else must derive from it, and nothing can exist before it. This ultimate substance from which all is made and connected, he called nature, or God. But he didn't stop there." Comment for part 2.
Einstein, everybody knows who Einstein is. And he said, I believe in Spinoza's God. But what is Spinoza's God? And what is the God of Justin Bieber? If Justin Bieber's God is connected with the Christian God, that's a great imagination, has no reality. But if his God, Justin Bieber's God, is Spinoza's God, now that is clear, that is true. However, to get to understand Spinoza's God, you'll have to understand the process, how to get there. And that's what I do. Again, my name is Louis. I'm a teacher of Spinoza and Gurdjieff works, and also I'm a continued student. I'm going to do this the rest of my life. I've been doing this for over 50 years. Now, what is Spinoza's God? Spinoza's God is nature. But before you can get to Spinoza's God, you must learn what it is to know yourself. Socrates, a famous philosopher, talked about the idea of knowing thyself. To know thyself is to know your pain, to know your suffering, to know your unhappiness, to know about the cause and effects of your emotions. So when your desires are not met, you're going to feel pain. And what is pain? The definition of pain is less perfection, the inability to act. So what does that mean, perfection? Perfection is reality. To Spinoza, perfection is synonymous with reality. And what do I mean by that? When you're in pain, you cannot deal with the problem. Pain is just is telling you you have a problem. and you don't know how to deal with it. A lot of people go into depression, and that depression might be so great, they feel so lost that they actually commit suicide. And there's many cases, as you are aware of, in the entertainment field, that many people commit suicide for different reasons. But it all comes down to the basic fact that they don't know how to deal with their pain. And that's where I come in. I can help you to learn how to deal with your pain. Again, it's important that you get a journal and to write. Journal the events that causes you pain. And then write the events and write down the pain. And pain, when you feel pain, that is a real big step. You try not to judge yourself. I mean, even though you do crazy things, try not to judge yourself. Try to see what is going on, because it's in the seeing that is a beginning an awakened state. What do I mean by awaken? Now, I also teach about Gurdjieff. Gurdjieff was a 17th century mystic, and there are many Gurdjieff groups around, but they don't really do anything to help you rise up to a greater state of being. But they have some good ideas here. This is the book called In Search of the Miraculous, and on page 66, I'm going to read a little bit here. It says here, modern man lives in a sleep state. He is born asleep, and he dies asleep. Now, what is a sleep state? A sleep state is an unconscious state. It's like we are automatic robotic beings, biological robotic beings, operating automatically. And our desires takes us. We do things we regret later. And that's what's happening to Justin Bieber. Now, Justin Bieber, he's got a lot of things going in him. He has a good consciousness. He's a good guy. He makes great music. However, to go towards a Christian God is a cop-out. It doesn't really change your character. But however, it's the next best thing. I mean, if you feel you get salvation from it, you get peace from it, do it. But if you're not getting real satisfaction and you want to become aware of yourself and aware of Spinoza's God, then you become fulfilled. You'll have a purpose. You'll have an aim. And your life will have meaning. So to awake, Gurdjieff talks about the idea of being asleep. What is asleep? The sleep state is a real awake state is the intelligence. And that's what I do, is how to access this real intelligence. And this is where Spinoza comes in, the ethics. Spinoza's philosophy, he wrote the ethics during the 17th century. Now that's a long time ago. Even though it was a long time ago, it's still relevant today, because this is a blueprint of how to come to a higher character, a meaningful character, a character that applies reason and intuition. You know, if you might say, well, that's old. How can you relate to the 21st century? Well, look at what you're doing with geometry. Euclid. What was it? Over 2,000 years ago, we're still using geometry today. Why? Because it's true, it's clear, it's applicable. And that's where Spinoza, his ethics, we can apply it if you understand it. It will change your life. So I'm going to ask you to have many videos out there, how to learn how to look at oneself. But again, to look at oneself, you need guidance. And that's where I come in. You might want to call me, text me, or email me. You want to become a student. Because I know that I could help Justin Bieber to free himself from his shame, his regret, and become whole in himself through the clarity of his understanding. And that is the key. We want to understand our emotions. We want to understand our pain. We want to understand freedom. What is freedom? And that's where Spinoza comes in. Freedom is when we begin to really understand ourselves, to know thyself. Thank you for listening. I hope to hear from you.